Hello, everyone. This is a live stream. We discuss various SEO, digital marketing, link building, content marketing topics every week, same time, 1 p.m. EST on Wednesdays. I will give it a few minutes for everyone to join, but just in case you don't know me, I'm Ann Smarty. I'm the co-founder of Smarty Marketing, a New York-based boutique SEO agency. And I've been in SEO for many years. I've seen it develop. I've seen Google search develop. I've seen different tactics develop. I know what has happened, and that's why I have some context to everything new Google is doing. So that's what I'm doing on a weekly basis together with April, that's our director of social media. She's more on the social and content marketing side of our company, so she can add more value to these videos through having questions that I may not even think about because I'm too deep into the topic. So she will ask questions today. She will highlight any comments. Please comment if you can see and hear us. Today, we're also trying a new platform. We're live streaming to YouTube. My YouTube channel is very underdeveloped. So we're trying to make that a little bit more active as well. So let us know which platform are you watching us from. We live stream to LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. I think those 5. And we're testing different ways to promote those events as well. We try to make them very time sensitive because we discuss everything that's going on right now or just recently. We explain Google updates. We explain how to revive your rankings if you lose them. Is there any tactical solution, any studies, any experiments in SEO based on our experience as well? So hopefully these events add value. Please subscribe to my newsletter. It lives over at nsmarty.com domain. Very easy to find. You can just Google nsmarty and somewhere there you will see nsmarty.com and just type it in. I announce the weekly topic for our discussions to those emails, and they also add more context like links, tools, related discussions, screenshots, so make it much easier for you to understand the topic and what we're talking about. Also, if you do have any feedback on what we need to discuss on these videos, which questions you have on AI search, generative AI, SEO, marketing. If you have any questions or if you want us to look at your website, please let us know. We do have lots of ways to get in touch, including social media, and you also can go to smarty.marketing and use our contact us form to discuss anything with us. With that being said, we have a technical discussion for today. It is about 301 or 302 redirects. That was prompted by the question asked last time by Lisa. Thank you so much, Lisa, on where to redirect, how to use that for SEO and all of that. Before we go into that technical topic, which is not as exciting as we would love it to be, please do comment on any social media network that you're watching us from right now. We do want your feedback. But also, there is a very interesting discussion going on LinkedIn, something that I shared today on my LinkedIn as well. So check it out. It was started by Lily Ray, my great friend, and I reshared it to my feed so that you could check it out. Check me out on LinkedIn as Ann Smarty, and you will see an update from me if you scroll down my profile page. So a quick context to that. Within a year, we had 2 similar but reverse updates from Google. Helpful content that is now a part of core updates from Google. We had so far, within 1 year, we had 2 of them, and they were pretty devastating for many publishers, especially smaller publishers, because they were erased from search results. And the other update, which is kind of relevant, is site reputation update. That update was targeting publishers, huge brands who were abusing, as Google wanted us to call it. I really don't think that's an abuse, but in any way, they were abusing their site reputation and their brand visibility by hosting third-party content on their sites. Those were almost exclusively coupons that they were just syndicating from other places. And because their domains are so powerful and their brands are so powerful, those pages were ranking crazily great, very well in Google. That, in terms of what Google thought, was not adding value to search results, because those were the same pages, just from domain to domain. There was no value add to search results. Like, they didn't do anything else but hosting that third-party content. There was no editorial review of those coupons. There was no edit reviews from people for feedback on those coupons in most cases. In many cases, those pages, those publishers that were hit by the site reputation abuse update were actually doing well. They were allowing people to comment or rate those coupons. They had newsletters, they had tools allowing people to find more deals and save more money. So some of them were doing a good job and they still were hit, but in most cases, it was just hosting some syndicated content from site to site, and it was just flooding Google results. So for helpful content update, the goal was to remove unhelpful content, which we still don't have any definition for. And for the site reputation abuse update, the goal was to remove repetitive syndicated content hosted on huge domains. And this is what happened. So helpful content update was algorithmic. So there was some layer in algorithm added to that, to the classifier, as they called it, of unhelpful content. It could be site-wide. If a few pages of your site, if enough pages of your site were found unhelpful, it would impact the whole site, which is important. It's a site-wide penalty. It's algorithmic. For the site reputation abuse update, it has never been algorithmic. It was manual. So people, actual people, human beings, were sending manual penalties to huge brands saying, this section of your site adds absolutely zero value to our search results because it's third-party content, there is no editorial review, and it did nothing to add any value to it. So this section, only this section, will be removed from search results. It's not site-wide penalty, and it's not algorithmic. It's manual penalty. So obvious question here, which I was asking previously when we were discussing each of these updates separately. Lily Ray was asking this question on LinkedIn as well, like why the treatment for these two updates is so different, why the process is so different, why one is algorithmic and site-wide, and the other one is manual and only impacting that section that is breaking Google rules, according to Google. Why it's so different? The answer that I commented on that original thread saying because brands, huge sites have been historically treated differently. If it's a huge brand, it's always very carefully penalized. It's always very, it has the revival period, like couple of days once they take any necessary action. Sometimes even Google representatives would approach them saying, you're not doing this right, please fix it, because then the penalty is coming up and you will be impacted. With smaller publishers, and helpful content update algorithmically killed small publishers. Google has never been very careful. It's just, okay, for a year you have no Google traffic. Congratulations, you're not helpful. And then suddenly you're helpful again without doing anything. And this not only shows the unfairness, which we all have to deal with, and it's probably has been like that for many years now. So pretty much used to that. We know that any clients comes to us, we always tell them you need backlinks and you need to become a brand because it's important for SEO. We all know that. But I think the different treatments of these updates was also a huge signal for the whole SEO community on how backlink profiles and power of brands are fundamentally cannot be removed from the algorithm. Because for helpful content update, anyone who had huge backlink profiles and very known brands, they survived it pretty well because of backlinks. So when it's algorithmic, Google cannot really override that signal as easily as they tell us, because backlinks and brands are core, the entities are core of its algorithm. Any algorithmic update cannot override that signal, and that's why with helpful content update, that signal was the key. No one with huge backlink profiles was actually erased from search results as much as small publishers. And with site reputation abuse, because it was targeting huge sites, there was no way it could be done algorithmically, because backlinks are fundamental to the search algorithm, and probably it's impossible to override for at least many years now. I'm not good at making predictions, but it's definitely that. So take a look at my a post on LinkedIn. It links to Lily Ray's discussion that has many more comments and many more opinions on that difference of what we've seen within 1 year of how differently these updates were handled and why. So take a look and add your thoughts as well. I would love to hear them. Now to less exciting and more boring topic of today is the redirects. There are a lot of cases when we have broken links and there is no site that has been around for more about like even 1 year or 2 years and would not have broken links, internal broken links into removed pages, outdated content. Last time we were discussing updating content, and sometimes you just don't have to update it, you can just remove it. And when you remove it, what do you do with that URL? Is it redirecting? So 2 things to know about redirects. If you can avoid them, please do. That has to do with moving to a new domain, moving to a new CMS, redesigning the site. If you can avoid doing that, if you can just keep everything as it is, as much as you can, consider not doing that, because you will lose rankings over 301 or 302 redirects. Whatever you do, how well you do it, it doesn't matter. You will lose at least 30% of online visibility. It has been like that for many years. Studies prove that. Googlers tried to convince us this is not the case, but in practice, this is the case. And no matter how many times I say, even redirecting from unsecure URLs to HTTPS always causes rankings loss. Always. As many times as I've seen that, as many times as I've done it myself, there has always been loss in clicks from Google. It is revivable. It takes lots of time. We do not want that unless we really need this change that would cause a lot of redirects on the site. So keep that in mind. Redirects are only a good option if there is no other option. And secondly, the other thing here is that, yes, you can redirect anything to anything, but there are 2 things to think about. First, user experience. People clicked a link expecting to see some page, whether it's from search results, whether it's from other links, whether it's from internal links, external links. There is an expectation there. For example, they will read about this event of yours, and your event has expired, so you just redirect that to the homepage. And people do not understand what just happened because redirects are really not as obvious. They just land on a different page without understanding why. This is not good for user experience, and what's not good for user experience is not good for SEO as well. So keep that in mind. And Google, because of that, is also insisting on redirecting exactly the same content to exactly the same page. It could be, like I said, through moving to HTTPS URLs. It could be through moving to another domain. It could be moving to another CMS that changed URLs on your site, which is not good again. It could be, for example, that you have a lot of pages talking about definitions of some terms in your industry, and then you consolidated that all in one page with jump links to exactly that definition. Yes, you can redirect your individual pages to that huge page, pointing people exactly to the definition that they are looking for. There is no problem with user experience here, and there is no problem with relevancy here, because Google insists that it should be very, very relevant, the same search intent, the same topic of the page. Maybe it could be shrinked or expanded depending on what you're doing, but it should be one-to-one redirect that makes sense, only in that way. If it's just about redirecting to safe link equity, which Google does confirm that links pointing to a page could pass that link equity when the page is redirected to another location. But again, Google says if it's not relevant, if it's not the same page, if it's not the same search intent, if it's not the same user experience, then link equity will not be passed. So it could be useless to do those. It can hurt user experience. It can result in some bounces, so people leaving your site, but it also is useless for SEO because link equity is passed only through very relevant redirects. So no matter which agency you're working with, if they say you have broken links on your site, they should be redirected. Let's redirect all offer profiles to your homepage, or let's redirect all broken links to some section of your site. This is not good advice, and do not follow it. Do some research. You only redirect when it makes sense to people, because people do not realize why they landed on a homepage when they clicked a link going to some profile page or some event page. So keep that in mind. It's much better to create a more engaging for page, pointing people to search, pointing people to other important pages of your site, talking about your brand and why they landed on the 404. Apologize to people and encourage them to continue a journey through a site, but at least they will know this page does not exist anymore, instead of being redirected to some random page that makes no sense to them whatsoever. So keep this in mind when you consult with someone, when you find broken links on your page, on your site, when you do a crawl, for example, even when you find like there is a great tactic, link building tactic, when you find a lot of links pointing to a broken page on a competitive site or your own site, keep in mind that if you want to save that link equity, the new page where you redirect should be very, very relevant, serving the same search intent and giving the same user experience as the page that is no longer there. I know there is a lot of confusion about this topic in the industry, so thank you, Lisa, for asking that question previously, for us to be able to talk about this today. And I know April had some questions, and I'm ready for those.
So how do you decide between a 301 or versus a 404 on a page if it's like out of date?
Sometimes it's not even a choice. Sometimes just due to your content management systems, they would remove temporal pages, or let's say you host a lot of events on a yearly basis. You cannot really keep them all on your site, and redirecting Las Vegas event to, let's say, Dallas event that you host next year doesn't make sense. So you can let this page expire and invite people to share, to say, hey, this event is no longer here, but here are all the upcoming events in different locations. So based on the user experience, I think put your users first. Think if it makes sense for them to land on this page. For example, I have a lot of projects that are no longer there, but I have announcements of those projects on my site. Will people be confused if they land on that page and read about my project that is no longer there, makes no sense in this time and day? Doesn't make sense for them to be there. No, it doesn't. So I remove that page. And there is no project like that anymore, so there is nothing to redirect to. So it could be just 404. Yes, scroll your site every time to be able to remove internal links pointing to that page, because they are also providing not good user experience pointing to 404 page. But it's also easier to make a crawl and find every internal link pointing to a 404 page, because that will be broken links, and every crawler shows them, including the free crawler from Bing, Webmaster Tools, for example. Yes, it's easy to find, to remove those internal links. It's a little bit of work, but at least it's good for user experience, because if you keep those internal links pointing to a redirect, which goes to some randomly and irrelevant page, it's bad for user experience in the first place. And Google does know that. Google does know that anything that's not good for user experience, anything that drives them away from the site, could be a little negative signal for your site as well. So you want to avoid that. Think about every page should be treated differently. Think about people's journeys around your site, why they could have got there, how to and how can you make them their lives easier if it's an outdated page, and go from there.
Yeah. So speaking of events, like I know some sites have like just a web page up, like there's all their events, and then they like update that versus like a specific event page. You think like there's what's more advantageous for the website?
I always advocate for evergreen pages that you can update if it's the same event, the same topic, the same location every year. There is no reason for you to create a new page every time and accumulate and try to build some new signals to it. You can leverage your past signals, making it more active. Yes, you need more backlinks. Yes, you need more social media shares every time, but at least it's accumulating throughout the time, and Google knows that URL. It's not always possible. We have clients who have dozens of events throughout the United States every year, and very few of them end up in the same location. And they also have different topics for every event. So it's not exactly possible to use the same page, because the content will be different every time. It will be confusing. It will retain past year rankings for that location and will rank for Dallas instead of Las Vegas. It will be confusing. So it's not always possible. So look at what you are doing and try to adjust your SEO strategy based on that. You do need evergreen pages for them to rank better, but it's not always possible. So if your event expires and it's all you do, for it and explain here, add a widget with upcoming events, and let people choose where they want to go, instead of trying to force them on your event index page or schedule page or home page and get them confused.
So I guess it's a good segue into like my next question. Like, what are some tips for like easily updating a page so that a 301 can be avoided, if it's possible?
It is not always possible, but it's always preferable. If you choose between updating a page for it or 301 it, updating is always preferable if it's possible. It's not always possible. It could be an old press release. It could be an expired product. It could be an expired event page. And you cannot flood your site with a lot of expired content. If it's few times, yes, it's okay to like just add a little disclaimer. This page is no longer up to date. This is the updated version. This is the new the upcoming event that can be, or page with upcoming events. So something like that could be done, which whenever you can. But let's think about that client that I was talking about that has lots of events every year and they all expire. You cannot accumulate those expired pages on your site forever, because they will be the majority of your site at some point. So in this case, an option is to just develop a great 401 page, remove all internal links, and let people choose what they want. So it's not the same for every case, for sure. That's why we are so boutique, and that was our choice. Our agency treats every case differently because it is different. There is no one recipe for every SEO strategy out there, so that's why we treat every client as a special flower, and that's the only way. That's my firm belief, and I've been an advocate of that for many years. Is that the only way to do SEO? There is no way you can approach every case in the same way. And with redirecting or updating, it's the same. Depends on the client side, depends on how often they do it, depending on their site structure, depending on their goals. There are so many things to keep in mind here when you create a strategy. But the one recipe that I just talked about, a single one, it's not as actionable, as easy as we would like it to be. But if you think about user experience in the first place and user journeys around your site as well, how do they get to that page, what they can do here, if it still adds value to their journey, all if you think about this that way, then the solution will be obvious for every particular case.
Definitely. I mean, every client's users and audience are different, so like they're going to need customized solutions, and that's the best SEO possible, custom.
Exactly.
Oh, yep. Great comment from Craig.
Yep. User first, Google second. Exactly. And I know it sounds like I'm not a Google fan. Haven't been one for many years. I'm not the one who would always quote Googlers and say, "Hey, this is what Google said, so it's true." I'm not like that. I know no one in Google knows all the answers, just like we don't. But in this case, when they say put people first, I think it's not just an SEO strategy, it's a healthy marketing strategy for any site anyways, but it's also helpful for SEO as well. So that's why I think it's also easier to approach any problem when you stop thinking about search crawlers or social media shares or something, but think about your actual users first. Then all the further steps are much clearer, and the strategy is much easier to create.
And I feel like there's a lot of websites who don't even really even know about SEO, but they're successful because they're like caring about their audience and thinking about their audience.
My what I think about this is the combination, definitely the combination
Right.
of thinking about your users and thinking about SEO and searchable journeys that can take them to your site. That combination is the most powerful out there, but it's not the only one. I've seen websites that really don't know about Google and don't care about Google. They develop their marketing strategy in a different way. They build communities. They are on social. I know there are a lot of cases like that. And when they come to me, they have a hard time understanding what even I'm talking about because they have never had any exposure to Google or searching, but they are successful enough to maintain their business and make it profitable. Yes, this exists. This has been around for many years. Not depending 100% on Google is always a great idea either, too. But the combination probably is the healthiest way to develop your site, when you know your people, when you serve your users, but you also know searchable terms they're using to get to you or your competitors. You also build links for them to have more ways to get to your site and build your brand and build your SEO as well. So it's the combination of everything that's probably the healthiest way to develop a consistent web presence instead of depending on one particular channel.
Definitely. The common denominator, I think, is just caring about the people who are coming to your page. And you can do that with SEO and just being genuine. Just best recipe for success.
Exactly. I think we have like 1 minute for one more. If you have any.
I have two questions. Well, I'm trying to decide. I think we already discussed this, but like, are there penalties for redirecting a page that is not relevant enough?
Not so far. It could be useless. It could get that page that you're redirecting to in trouble. For example, when you redirect a spammy, and we've had a client like that just recently when he was under malware attack. So there were a lot of scammy pages created on his site, not by him, but by that hacker. And he redirected everything to the homepage to avoid any errors. And I think, and I was like, I don't think it's a good idea, because if those URLs are already under radar by Google because they had all those weird terms, casino links and all of that. If you redirect all those signals to the homepage, we don't really know how Google would react to that, because those signals can be passed to the homepage. So I don't think there is a penalty per se. I've never seen one, but doing some harm to the page you are redirecting to is possible if there were any negative signal that could be passed through that, or if Google thinks that's not a good user experience. And if you see too many redirects to one particular page, Google may get suspicious and derank that page from search results. So no penalty, at least as far as I know. But a little bit of risk exists if you mass redirect lots of pages to a particular page, like homepage, which is usually how it's done. Not a good idea. Could decrease the rankings of that page that you're passing all those redirects to. So you can pass good signals and bits. Yes, you can pass penalties to redirects. So if you have a penalty, if you had a manual penalty and if you had algorithmic penalty, you can start a new site, but avoid redirecting that old site to your new site, because you can pass all those negative signals as well. Keep that in mind. Great question. I think I need to include that in my newsletter as well, that not only good signals, but bad signals could be passed through redirection as well. And it has been like that since link building manual penalties, when people did not want to remove all bad backlinks, started over and just redirected the old site to the new site, for maybe even for user experience, for people to be able to find them through the new domain. But keep in mind that redirects, those bad things also pass through redirects as well. Probably the phenomenon of pages ranking for relevant keywords, and the reason found is that they have some redirected pages to them where they used to rank for these old queries. This happens, but not as much as it used to. I think because Google is treating redirects much smarter these days. They look at the relevancy, they look at what it was before they pass rankings and backlink link equities to the new page. But still happens. I've still seen that, and sometimes it's a mystery when you do the audit of a site and you see irrelevant rankings and you cannot figure out where they're coming from, because there is nothing on the page like that. You cannot find anything through the crawl, and then you find out that some old page that is no longer linked from this site internally, but had backlinks from external sources, was redirected to that page, and Google somehow trusted that redirect and passed those signals. Doesn't happen often these days. It was much more dominant 10, 15 years ago, but it's been a slow trend these days that this doesn't happen much anymore. Okay, I think we are good. April didn't have time to ask her last questions. Please do comment on the replays of this video with your opinion about what we've discussed and maybe some ideas for future videos. Again, join us. Same platform you're using right now. You can join us next week, Wednesday, 1 p.m. EST, for more videos like that, and to interact with us and learn something new about SEO as well, and AI search. Bye.